Hello, guys. Welcome to another session of the letter. On the last session, we finished up our Hana hoot. Hana hoot. Hana root, I meant to say. So the chapter ended for Hana was basically this: is that she was a lady who belonged to a very rich individual. And matter of fact, they're both rich, but very successful in what they do. Now they bought the mansion, and of course there were marital troubles, and we basically chose the option to leave, break up with Luke. But along the way, we probably have a better chance with two other individuals, but it seems like we may be heading towards our Zachary boy. So, when her chapter ended, basically, the ghosts, I believe, attempted to possess her, but we resisted, hopefully in time. And that's when that chapter ended. And now, the chapter begins with our boy Zachary. So, let's find out how we're going to guide this boy. Shall we guide him to salvation, or maybe to his own personal doom? Who knows? So, let us continue. Ellipses. More ellipses. And here we go with the Zachary. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commanding gaze, Ma's tender smiles, sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning. The distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Mom, Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I, too, eventually. And we ain't allowed here. Or there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we learn how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted. So, who's in the mood to take over Zachary today? If not, I'll just take over.
I can do it, yeah, so your voice
Alright.
on you.
Yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold underneath my feet. More than it usually is. The walls are more forbidding than what I'm used to. Father and father, the room goes. Ma singing caresses and Pa.
No, please, wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time.
Oh, is he crying?
Don't, don't go.
I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and deafening roars of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's is only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the red sea that catches me, bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips from my hand is warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The wall trembles and everything goes quiet. Ellipses. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chills the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet,
Way too early for this thing, man.
and too long. Too long since I last woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad, whichever comes first. Yet, vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless of desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relieve every moment, every sensation, and there's twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looked up from her work, floor dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts in the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills me. He reaches up to swipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer the moment he spots me in my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I came in with his arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put up in a cell tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushered me out of the kitchen, and Pa moves to answer it. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The wall still needs a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite of my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
The pressure of my own finger against my temple is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. I never really did anything to starve off the headache, sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, and Mon pause. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost, threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she was here, but no matter. It's a welcome break from the thoughts that about to take a morbid turn if I left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonders of wonders. Why is he bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before? Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me back to check who is first thought at the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight. He started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon. No matter how funny it looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella? It's late.
There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and uncontrollable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. I'd, if I don't any better. Who wants a voice, Bella?
Aaron, do you want to do it? Otherwise, I can.
Um, I feel like we're gonna see Hannah more, so I'll let you have Bella for now.
Okay.
Alright.
Hey, Zach. Sorry,
Oh, Nick, before we continue, I do want to let you know, is it possible for make your mic push to talk by any chance? It's just I noticed there's a lot
Oh,
of buzzing.
am I getting a lot of background noise? Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
My keyboard is like not really, the keys aren't really responding, but I can
Okay.
kind of mute myself. But
Yeah,
I'll try to do that.
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it's fine.
I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you were the closest to my office, and
No, no, no. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought I'm sorry. I just thought I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on its own after I got out of the office, and sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to the still trembling hands as she motions alone enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture, easy to miss if one is not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you knocked. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear, that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only clanking of the plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as any, late as it may be for a snack, the familiar emotions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from the dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such a late hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tile floor. In all the years I've known her, Jean has never once lost her upbeat spirit. Yet in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it is as if looking at something completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so the ingredients may be a bit limited, but I'm sure I can whip up something with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. And feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here, although my room's not at most presentable right now, sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix up things here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd had something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she can take a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until we're left hanging, feeling disconcerting. Before anything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Uh, anyway, gigs. Yeah, can you believe this one client we got? Plus, had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you. Huh.
She curled up in one side of the couch and hugging her knees
What time in the
close.
story is this? I'm so confused, actually.
I want to say this is like either after when Isabella left from the spirit, or because no,
After
remember,
her office?
yeah, this is probably definitely after her office, because remember when they signed the contract to officially buy the home. I think it was like literally a day after that. But let me see. We can take a look at our journal here. Let's see. Our timelines
Yeah,
is
does have a
October
date me.
17th. So, and right, city, blah blah blah. Okay, before going to Immigrant, Isabella drowns, already highs, and Miguel's reminded to take the letter. So this is when the letter happened. And let's see.
Yeah, because
Oh,
usually it
there's
would like
actually
start with the date,
next.
but I didn't see it this time for this one.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I can't tell if this is after Rose died or it's at the beginning when she first saw the ghost in the attic.
I think you could like go
Yeah, we can
between
counter.
like this here, because this is where I'm sorry, what's I thinking? Like you can see the rest of the days, the actions that took place. That's when we meet the professor, and this is when we saw the spirit. And okay, that's okay. This is the let's see, it's after the house. Okay, this is the purchase, and let's see. Oh, this is when Isabella found the cat, and that's when they had the breakfast with the crew. This is when she found out when Rose died,
Oh yeah,
and then this is where Isabella drowned her work. So this is like after. This is when she made the conclusion. But then that's that, and we're about here, or this is kind of like before, because this is like before he has to do the whatchamacallit.
Photo shoot?
Yeah, the photo shoot. So I'm assuming we're kind of like right here. This is when like Isabella left from work.
So
So
we're after she's met the ghost, but before Rose
before
died.
Zachary, before we had the photo shoot. I think we're like right there. So we're basically before we meet Hana for the first time. This is my assumption. So, but other than that, let's look at profiles where we're at it. Zachary. All right, let's see. Zachary Zach Steely, Birth date, she born on March 20th. He's a Pisces, or Pisces, I don't know how you say it. He's a 31-year-old.
Pisces.
Oh, Pisces. Oh, he's my age. All right. He's standing at 6 feet tall, or 183 centimeters for those who like to use the the standard units of things. His occupation is a freelance photographer. He's an American. His religion is from the agnostic viewpoint. Education diploma in digital film. Likes pie, photography, filmography, documentaries, cooking, and acoustic guitar and video games. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey, where his family owned a dinner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to a hate crime, and they were forced to move to England where her grandparents lived. He loved cooking and helping out the old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of the few blacks in the predominantly white community at the time. His passion for the visual arts was sparked when he found out old Polaroids and home movies with his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent, but the man had long set his sights on indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred, and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led to Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped him clear his name. Interesting. Guy has a pretty rough pass.
I'm trying to think, is England at this time like more or less racist than New Jersey overall? I don't.
It's definitely not as
What year is that?
It's the
Hmm.
what year is it?
From the 90s, I want to say.
Oh no, they got tired of being racist to black people in the 1800s. It was more hate against Indian people.
Well, Jamar, you lived in England,
Yeah.
so it was less racist. You said, right?
Yeah, that was fine.
In England, yeah. I guess I don't know much about New
Well,
Jersey.
he moved to England after his grandparents' death, so he's American born. So his parents unfortunately part of a hate crime. So let's see. If he's 31 years old, and I didn't see what year did the timeline take place. It didn't say what year, but I assume it's pretty modern. So it's like back in the probably like the late 70s, 80s, roughly when it happened. So, other than that, we found out our boy Zachary has a tough pass, and he wants to kind of help bring that whole issue to light. Some indie films. Other than that, let's continue. So,
Also, Jamar, yeah, if you want to voice Zach, that'd be awesome.
yeah. Are you moved to voice
If you're available.
a photographer with a really rough pass? I'm not sure if he can hear, but unless
He
he's wrong
can.
to it. Oh, okay.
I guess I could. Give me a second. Let me wrap up Monster Hunter. I just need
That's
save.
fine.
Stop killing the creatures, Jamar.
Look, the man needs his parts. He needs to make the ultimate
Yeah,
weapon.
You use those to make the weapons, you guys.
Yeah.
It's like a more
I'll
violent.
be on in a second, but until then.
That's fine. Let's see. She curled up on the side of the couch and hugged her knees close to what I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she didn't want me asking questions. Worrying. This sudden loss for words, this bout of quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it'd be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused glaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today after what happened. To Rose?
Oh, so this is after Rose died.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bill.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice.
Did you agree to the new server rules?
I did not.
It doesn't matter. You've
Oh,
probably heard her
good,
name
good.
recently from the news than me.
Whoops, didn't have my mic unmuted. Let's see. A little memory from the night before. The bright red from the dark room, the strong odor of the soap bath, and the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even the morning that follows. I just didn't think the effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh, that rose. Damn, I didn't mean to bring that up. Oh yeah, Jim, if you want to just take over.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That, well, let's don't get
You sound very far away from the mic, Jamar. I'm not sure if you need to readjust.
How's it now?
It's good. You're Gucci.
Perfect.
You sound booming with true presence. But take it away.
That explains it well. Just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hardworking people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still, a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk there alone, especially not in the middle of the night. who kn- who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you.
No, wait, please.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. For him and tension in her voice makes me pause, and it isn't at this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what she's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see how much marring her unusual upbeat continence. Continence?
Continents, I think?
Continence?
Continents?
I think I say it? Eh. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling me is enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is this really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens it. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
She clasps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please, please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and
Isabella, look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. I'm the captain now. I can't get that meme. Alright. My hands are firm on her shoulders when I pull her up to look at me. I take every force of the will to ignore the terrors in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe, breathe. You're safe now. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more, please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Okay, no more talking. I won't ask anymore. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much.
That sounds good.
Alright, we're going to have to clean this mess first. Would you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating herself again. No more words exchanged after that, and I take it as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us gets hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two, but the latter does the trick. And soon enough, she's already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, and the strain on her shoulders are gone. Frankly, I never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to an empty bed, and she hugs herself tighter against a mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown of her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay as long with her. There's still questions left to be answered. The late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustions, made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. The darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits on my makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dreams will keep a distance for now, for the both of us. Around on October 25th of Tuesday. Alright, a few notes were muffled are enough to wake me. In the end, it becomes one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has eased to peek over the horizon. The night has already given away the cool morning light, washing everything in its subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious extra few minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now. I'm getting kind of PTSD actually from this.
Ugh, this better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing hasn't stopped as soon as I fish the phone out. Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if it hasn't dropped the call yet. Alright, who's in the mood to voice Zach here? He's kind of like a goofy but yet serious Asian police boy.
I can
Nick
do it.
usually does it, right?
Who?
No?
I think so.
I think
If
you
wants to do
voiced
that.
him one time, Madeline. Actually, in the
Oh,
last
Madeline
session.
did too?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Madeline did him for a while and did a special, like, terribly
yeah,
Oh, man.
goofy.
I think I filled in for Nick. I think Nick
yeah.
was
I think we did that. Unless
We can do Ash again though here.
unless
Do you want to do
anybody else want to try it? Hassan, I noticed you're here. Do you want to give it a shot? Or
I can give it a shot.
all right.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. The sun hasn't even been risen. Hell, my brain ain't seen awake yet. And stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
There we go.
You're one to talk. Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a morning person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ended today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. Both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where?
I should have known you two will come looking for us. Ah, you two will come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not in laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened recently. You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure how to go about the recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him, might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of it in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her to her the night before. Sometime during her sleep, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tuck into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much of her hands and lips trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the cover, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
Hmm, I'm not really sure how to go about this while being.
Water.
Something, the worry, the concern, must have surfaced in my tone because in his own shift, then, carefully, as if he was preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now since last night. In fact,
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
she kind of knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it would be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the roosters even crows.
You could have at least called or something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know, I'm sorry. There was a lapse on my part, but I just didn't think. Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie, maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so
So something's wrong, then.
I'm not quite sure. To be completely honest, I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd have learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking. Like when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'll be surprised if this wasn't the first time I seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You aren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but
No, it happened the day after when she invited us to lunch. You weren't there. We were walking 1 second, and then the next, she was crying out. I'll be straight with you. That screamed, that scared me shitless.
It'd bother him if the way he falls silent after his telling. Whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule is flexible as last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyways. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scaredy Cat's fine. Bye.
Damn.
Alright, he drops the call before I even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxborn arrives. The increasing sound of passing traffic and the bristles of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but this routine puts me at ease nonetheless. What's comfortably safe in what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say in a light of last night. If only forgetting is easy as breathing. Small yawn escapes from me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through, despite proverbial ghosts hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I spent minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill before taking one in. Now it's just routine, way to starve off the unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit, regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose or ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, then I pop a tablet into my mouth.
Zach, what time is it?
The bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are things that I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Do you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child.
Hey.
Alright. A chuckle emerges to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities, experience, and mature even. Easy to forget that she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not as the same level Ash exercised for her investigations, or Rebecca's need for her own work, but it's certainly enough to daftly put what she sees around her on a canvas. And if the way her eyes flickers on the table, my hands say something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that. I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have a less wiggle room with all four of us are present considering the size of this place, but as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
fine or not, I still owe you for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be.
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance on the table, back to the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood booming over Pa's heart, and the horrified look on Mom's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground. Every ounce of spite seeping in from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stopped, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed. If not, at loss for words at that. And she lifted up to me whether I give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her if anyone would ask me.
Very
we-
rude to ask.
Should we play it off and be changing
Play
the
off.
topic, or
Play
just
it off.
Play
or
off.
just
Tell her the
expose our?
truth. She's
No.
our friend. Come on.
Or should we really tell him what's been really messing with this poor character?
She's our friend, and we should be honest with her. I feel like playing it off will hurt our relationship.
All right.
Already kind of like messed up from seeing all this spooky stuff. So.
All right. So.
She's immature and innocent.
So we
like
got.
the character believes.
All right. So we got 3 people for playing it off. 1 or 2 are saying telling the truth. Am I correct?
Truth.
All right. 2 for
Truth.
truth. 2 for truth. 3 for 2. Zach.
Wait.
I don't know what's going on, but I'll say
Okay.
the truth.
Long story short.
That's okay.
Just vote
Uh,
anyway.
I'm voting tell the truth. I want to tie it up and leave it to a roll.
All right.
Give you a chance to show off your D20.
So 3 for 3, unless somebody else has a tiebreaker, because we're technically at an odd number here. Who hasn't voted?
I haven't voted.
Madeline, you're the tiebreaker. You're the swing vote here.
I think
Friendship
just
is
wanna-
magic.
Tell the truth. I'm curious.
All
Yes.
right. Democracy has spoken.
But is
West Side.
your normal magic? I don't know.
All right. Let's find out. Let's tell this girl the truth. But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problem, that is. Will never be, not by a long shot. But when I've let it stay this way for so long, I realized that long ago the were still fresh and that dreams were nightly occurrence. You can't force yourself to get better or move on to do better things. It is what normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, both born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact, but of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she doesn't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her, giving too much what I can. However, for all of her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always a small area is closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
About, Zach?
I shouldn't have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything, but you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If there's anything you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started. Yeah.
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her postures easy and open, and her smile honest, as if this is a simple talk between friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but an unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listened to the story spills out of my mouth, my ma and pa at the little old diner across the pond, and what's left of me in that day. I can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. Passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident, all except for that one moment in the kitchen. Ringing of gunshot were as vivid as it sounded that day. And Ma hysterical screams at the moment Pa's body hits the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out of him under him. And the gunman? He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him in. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nana and Grant took us in right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Mom and Pa were laid to rest, and we have a new home, a continent away. I didn't even get a chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment would be good for us. They had no idea a different kind of ghost would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, or maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her, the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me. A bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind. If I'm supposed to recuperate the gesture giving in my early apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I brace myself for, but it is obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not going to say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people had something to say after usually, and not the necessary nice either.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but
Not right now.
yeah, not right now. When I'm ready, like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she react after. But one step at a time, yeah. Whew, alright. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out of my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angry I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our, what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons. But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too, and while these past few weeks haven't been easy for you, I didn't want to add to that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappeared right before I could recognize what it is.
You okay?
No worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night. Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, all right? What's important is you got what you want to say out, and if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, and knowing that I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make it another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. This is the dance I know too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something like a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe even often directed at Ash, but never furious. What did they say again about happiest people when angered? Besides, it'll be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, as I've been simply waiting for the cue all this time. Her stomach rumbles as the mention of food. She rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alright, Missy, we're going to get some chow now. Better be quick though. I can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have 1-star stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I got enough to put together something nice here, maybe. I can always improvise if we're missing an ingredient too. Ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing, or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
Soft laughter comes from her, doesn't quite reach her eyes. Either the answer is either. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. My siblings love it.
Sure you can. Oh, come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Alrighty. Let's see.
I would kill for some ramen right now. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does anybody want to take over the narration for me? Anybody in the mood for narration?
I could be. Oh,
Or, what
I was gonna
that,
say I
Steve?
could be. Someone else jumped in.
I said sure, I could do it.
All right.
Okay.
So, Jamar, are you still good for voicing Zach, or do you need a break?
No, I could keep going if you guys need me to.
All right. Other than that, let's take it away, Steve.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else will come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call back. I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella, could you?
Yeah, got it. We're almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies when he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it could be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
Then you're here because...
What? Am I allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that, and you're not answering my question.
My bad. Got to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to get somewhere else. Come on, Isabella. Let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down and force alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would make for a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion were all in his face all at once, two things that rarely ever grace it if he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I had my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Bella! Bella!
Thing. Was I on mute?
Yeah.
No?
Or, not anymore. You're good.
I wasn't on mute. Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll just get you something on the way back.
But the food, it's Zach's cooking. Real, delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
I support her food endeavors. You shouldn't just be dragged away from food.
These two, whenever they are in the same room, sometimes it feels like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, and I have an overactive imagination, I'd see there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such.
Alright.
I cooked up a feast.
Alright.
We
my-
cooks.
So, we got 2 for feasting. Anybody else in the different?
I know you're busy.
I know you're
Okay.
busy.
Oh.
2, 2.
What?
2 for 2.
I vote feast.
3 for feast.
Feast.
Okay, did Nick say you say feast? Or what did you say?
Yeah, I heard him say it. He said feast.
No,
Yeah,
he
okay.
said, I know
He
you're
said
busy.
busy.
No, we're eating this food. God, I'm so hungry right now.
You were gonna tear that poor girl away from the potatoes she has cut and peeled? No.
And you know,
So,
all she ever eats is the noodles, and she just wants some home cooking. Like, how could you do this?
okay, so if I count my numbers correctly, Beast is currently in the winner, if I'm not mistaken, because I know
I don't know.
Madeline. Okay, Madeline, Nick. Sorry, Madeline, Nick, Aaron, and who was the missing person? Was it Zach?
I said feast, yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Well-
that's in the majority, unfortunately. Democracy has spoken. We're sitting
But
down
how is it
eating
unfortunate?
this
It is
food.
democracy.
Let's all be late to work together. We can handle one day being late.
Democracy's the worst. I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I already made enough food for all of us, and it would be a waste. Why, I cooked up the special honey glazed ham you two keep yapping about. Got some scallion potatoes with onions, cheddar to go with it too.
Yum.
The oven timer dings. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of glaze and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks.
Tsundere.
It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of a free meal, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it. Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right, you know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Alright, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
We eventually settle down after the food has been served, the jibes replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk of food and polite company, this case in particular.
Ooh, that food looks good.
I know, those
Are
potatoes are
fresh
calling my name.
Too soon.
Yeah, it's like cheese and stuff glazed all over it. And it's
Cheesy
like ham
potato.
slices. God damn.
This is way better than what I'm eating currently.
I'm,
Or are you eating?
I'm super jealous.
you know, I'm actually gonna go start grocery shopping after this tomorrow. So, other than that,
I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Although perhaps this closest we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we are careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we could do.
The Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned. It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember when I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually the one you sold. Irma, something. When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. If they can't have those documents rushed at just the snap of their fingers, then they must be more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'll probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hannah is easy to please, too, as long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes, after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you've mentioned it, yeah, they wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but
But it's still fish. Weird. Still weird, yeah?
A slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm the middleman, after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the ins and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one, especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds for Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially, off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup.
God, I'm gonna punch this guy.
Oh, that's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What? How'd you? Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing, and it wasn't as big a thing as you imagined it.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
How do you make a fire through a salad?
Right?
It's like,
Like that one I
nothing
currently
with the vinaigrette oil too close to the stove. I don't.
hey,
Can we please move on to a different topic?
It helps. The casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane story is interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten, after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over, but he doesn't give her an answer and waits for her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you. See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you.
I think he broke at the last part, Jamar.
Did I cut out?
Yeah, just a little bit. I guess just
Oh.
repeat the last sentence.
Yeah, that's fine. You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
The grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit to go down at some point soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. Was that with Isabella earlier? You usually subtler.
Subtler?
Subtler?
Subtler.
Subtler.
The B is silent.
Thank you. With your questions.
I feel like I should be more subtle.
They hired you.
Hired me? Who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You say your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple.
How dare you talk about me like that?
I'd rather you stay far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real target, real estate agent. Seriously, of all people in Luxborn.
Okay, I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting look on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often, he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taken notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? Haven't seen you take them in a year.
Yeah, kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest, the dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me, she really did. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wanted, but you can never really tell. Alright, hopefully once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe you and Rebecca?
Yeah, I'll try. Can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks, that's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as soon as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ermengarde Mansion H. Wright, 11 a.m. for luxury living. After Ashton's warnings, they'll all hold a different meaning now. October 27th, Thursday. The next 2 days rush by in a blur altogether, leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up and new unexpected acquaintances or friends.
Sorry, this humming is intense.
Yeah.
Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing those photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an over-eager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes, just like my tone-deaf humming.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Good to get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here and a acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with it, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like good folks, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came out of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all.
I made a wrong choice, sorry.
Miss
Maybe he
Wright,
was just really rich.
Hannah herself, though, she ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound relationship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although with life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance.
Come save me.
Might even ended up with friends with Rebecca and Isabella too if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. Beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practiced motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted room closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photographer sits in the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff, that is. It's bad for the business no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however, she did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands and all the money in the world, a loving husband and plenty of big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like this helps. A little reminder that the world can be kind, too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds, and under the solution is all it needs for it to be ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze.
Oh, did we get a picture of the ghost in person?
Hey?
My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it a night.
What on earth?
Ah!
Her head is gone,
Oh no.
No.
blurred and
Like the
distorted
ring.
beyond recognition, rather.
It is like the ring.
The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before. loads of times actually. But I still can't help feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off. It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, and a short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow.
Oh damn.
No. A woman. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe. But with how far gone flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a pale, sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Miss Wright's neck like a noose, straining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something. That's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left? Yeah.
That memory alone is enough to make me rich. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself, or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue, an overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers.
Oh boy.
The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears.
Oh boy. What should we do? Should we show this photo to Hannah or take it to our boy Ash?
Ash.
One for Ash.
Ash.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Ash.
do the investigation on it. I feel like Hannah's been through.
Alright, so 3 ashes. We just need one more ash vote to confirm it for majority vote.
Yeah.
Sure, Ash.
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. It's not obvious to me where we should go here.
I agree, Ash. I think Hannah would just be kind of perturbed by that picture.
That's true. You don't want to be like, oh my god, how could you show this? Alright.
We want to spend more time.
We need to
But
show
I
it to
think it's gonna be Ash.
we need to show it to Ash so he can shoot the ghost.
Shoot the ghost.
I vote for shooting the ghost.
Alright. Hold on, what is our current relationship now? Alright. Our Ash is a little positive. Hannah's top. Isabella, holy
Oh,
crap.
Ash better watch out.
Alright, so yeah, looks
I
like
mean,
we're
her
on
cup,
the
the
good
water.
side of things, yeah. Alright, so I guess majority are in Ash's favor, so democracy has spoken.
Ash will give me flack for this, he will. I can already hear what he's going to say about this the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. This guy is a skeptic through and through, and it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seeing something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I'm no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun is yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch, the light switch gives out a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.